Like, I seriously want to record right now, but the AC is still on. Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Spritzo. Welcome back to Pokemon Go. It's been a little while since I made a couple videos here. I was out at Cedar Point yesterday, and I was busy over the weekend. So I want to make a very quick video here for catching Pokemon. I know that sounds ridiculous because that's like the gist of the game. Everyone should know how to do it. But there are little things that I could help you out with, especially turning off the AR to save some battery life, and also using the curveball trick, which isn't always the best thing, but you might get a chance of getting more experience. So the main thing with catching Pokemon in Pokemon Go is finding the Pokemon you want to catch that's near you. At the bottom right, I've mentioned before that you can see 9 Pokemon that are near you. The top left position is the first position, and the bottom right position is the last position. The top left Pokemon is the closest to you, the bottom right is the furthest from you. Pokemon with 1 footprint is close, Pokemon with 3 footprints is far. A Pokemon with 0 footprints is already in range of you for you to catch it. So if you have a Pokemon that has no footprints underneath it, it should pop up on the screen if it hasn't already, and you can catch it. If a Pokemon has 3 footprints and you want to catch it, walk in one direction, and if it goes up or down, meaning if it goes up in footsteps, which if it does, it's going to disappear because it's at 3. You can't have any more than 3. If it disappears, turn back around and walk to where you started, and then keep walking in that direction, and it should go down to 2. If it does, keep walking that direction. If it goes up, come back, rotate 90 degrees, either left or right, walk in that direction. If it goes up, turn all the way back around and keep walking, and you should run into the Pokemon. All of this is very self-explanatory. It's very easy to figure all of this out. You know, finding a Pokemon that's so many steps away, you walk one direction. If it goes up or it disappears, turn around and come back. All you're trying to do is eliminate each cardinal direction trying to find the Pokemon. If it goes down, you're walking the right way. The only problem you might run into, and we didn't run into it yesterday at Cedar Point, but you may run into walking into like water or someone's backyard or trees or fences. In that case, you kind of just have to make your way around to try to get close enough. To catch a Pokemon, if it's at 0 footsteps, it will show up on the screen. Your player radius does not have to have the Pokemon in it to be able to catch it. If the Pokemon is on the screen and you can touch it, you can catch it. You do not have to have it in your radius. So when you touch the Pokemon, you're going to be brought up to an AR screen of the Pokemon. Your camera will turn on and you'll see the Pokemon where it would really be standing if it was actually there. Augmented reality lets you see that. So if you move the camera away from where the Pokemon is standing, you won't see the Pokemon. As cool as that is, and the novelty of it is cool, it's not good for extended use. If you're going to use the AR a lot, your battery is going to die very quickly. If you turn the AR off at the top right, it's going to save you a lot of battery time, and it's going to prevent you from having to hold your phone and point it wherever the Pokemon may be. It's going to usually be in front of you on the ground. But if you're laying in bed and the Pokemon happens to show up and you want to catch it, instead of having to like turn and point at the Pokemon, you just turn off the AR and you can hold the phone any direction you want, and the Pokemon will stay still at the center of the screen. So when you go to catch a Pokemon, you just flick the Pokeball up and you try to catch the Pokemon. Some Pokemon, usually ones that are harder to catch, are going to be further from you. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell how close they actually are, so you may end up throwing 1 or 2 Pokeballs to determine how close it is to you. The curveball trick I mentioned, if you take the Pokeball and you spin it with your finger, it'll begin to rotate and it'll sparkle. If you let go in the right direction at the right spot, you can curve the Pokeball and catch the Pokemon. You only have a chance of getting extra experience using the curveball trick. It's not necessarily the greatest thing to do because you only get 10 experience for it, and you don't always get it. So it's not really worth trying because you're going to try it a couple times and you're going to miss the first few times getting used to it. And then more difficult Pokemon later down the road are going to be harder to catch. They'll jump a little bit more, or they'll swat the ball away, and you have to be aware of when that happens. You're going to waste a lot of Pokeballs trying to land the curveball, and it's really not worth that little bit of 10 experience. You're better off just throwing the Pokeball when the ring is at its biggest and getting a nice throw or an excellent throw for, I think, 100 experience. So that's better off doing. Don't try to necessarily curveball for that extra 10 experience when you could lose Pokeballs doing it. So after you catch the Pokemon, depending on which Pokemon it is, if it's a rare Pokemon, obviously don't transfer it. But if it's a Rattata, or if it's a Pidgey, or a Weedle, or anything super common, stack up on them, transfer them early so that you get a ton of candies, and then start to evolve them. Make sure you have the lucky egg running for extra experience when you catch them and when you evolve them, and then transfer them to Professor Willow after you've evolved them to get another candy back. This is a good way to level up early when you're at your low levels, and then once you get to higher levels, you're just going to be doing it constantly because it's going to be harder to level up. You're going to find newer Pokemon a little less often, and you're going to need to find a way to level up, and evolving Pokemon is the way to do it with a lucky egg. The last couple things I want to mention, When you reach level 8, you'll get raspberries, which you can feed to the Pokemon, which will increase the chance of catching it if you're already having trouble catching it. One thing that's important to note here, it's a bug. I don't know if it's been patched. The newest patch that came out, I think today, the 13th, I haven't gotten it for Android yet. I think it's only out on iOS. I'm not sure. I don't know if it fixed this bug or not, but when you use a raspberry, you have a chance that your Pokeball will be stuck in a curveball throwing state. So even if you threw the ball straight up, it may curve left or right. At that point, you have to just compensate and throw it off center a little bit so that it'll land on the Pokemon. I've experienced this, and 2 of my friends have experienced this. Raspberries, I've never had a problem where a raspberry didn't increase the chance. Like, it didn't feel like there was like, oh, this didn't do anything. It's worked for me every single time I've done it. I haven't had to do it much, maybe like 4 or 5 times. And one last thing is, I've asked a long time ago, I was like, when are you going to get Great Balls? When are we getting Great Balls? When are we getting Ultra Balls? Do they even exist in the game? Yes, they do. Great Balls are at level 12. I don't know when Ultra Balls are. I think they're 15 or 20. All right, so I believe that's all I have for catching Pokemon. Catching Pokemon is very easy. It's very simple to figure out. That's the gist of the game. Like, that is the majority of the game, so you would be able to figure that out, I think, pretty quickly. But I hope there were a few things I was able to clear up for you in this video, even if it is just catching Pokemon. I know it's pretty straightforward stuff, but there may be things you didn't know that I hope I've explained here for you. So that's all I've got for this video. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you'd like to. I heard the like button is broken. That's all I've got. Thank you for watching. That's the way it is.